So you'll notice that in this section of the course on Aristotle, there's a couple of links that will take you to images of a very famous picture by Raphael, the Renaissance painter. And although I'm really not much for visual aids in philosophy, I don't think really they help or really have anything to do with philosophy usually. This actually might help, taking a look at this painting. Now I included David's famous depiction of the death of Socrates in the section on the Phaedo, and that's really interesting to know, and gives you a sense of just how important historically Socrates and his death is. But I don't think it really gives you any, unless I'm missing something, I don't think it gives you much insight into the philosophical content of the Phaedo. But this may be an exception, that is Raphael's school of Athens. And sometimes in philosophy things are difficult and complex and elusive, and it's nice to have something substantial to hold on to. And in thinking about the differences in the metaphysics of Plato and Aristotle, there's nothing wrong with looking at that painting and Raphael. And if you look at it now, after you've read this stuff, you look at that image of Plato and Aristotle side by side. Plato on the one side with his finger pointed up, Aristotle on the other with his hand, with this gesture, which seems to be a gesture of moderation. You have a way of interpreting it, and seeing that Raphael, the painter, was interpreting the meaning of Plato and Aristotle's respective philosophies and embodying them in those hand gestures. Take it for what you will, it goes as far as it does. I mean, Plato pointing up to the sky, obviously the forms are not in the sky, but gesturing in a way, saying, pay attention to the ideal and the transcendent, you might say. With Aristotle saying, no, perhaps pay attention to what's in front of your face. They can be interpreted as gestures indicating Plato and Aristotle's respective answers to what is real. And again, that goes about as far as it does, because it's a good starting point, it's a good thing to hold on to. But we know that things are more complex than that. For instance, to say that Aristotle is saying, oh no, don't get too highfalutin, don't get too ambitious in terms of your speculation about what is real, stick to what is mundane, what is physical, what is earthly. That's true as far as it goes, but we've just been through Aristotle's very, you might say, ambitious description of the existence and nature of God, which is anything but moderation. So again, these things go as far as they do, but that may help in thinking about that is, Raphael may actually help, the image may help in our comparison of the two different metaphysics. So take a look at those images. I'll also include an entirely optional link to some art historians discussing this painting, and that again is optional. It's not necessary for you to look at it if you don't feel like it. But it's interesting, it gives you some insight into the painting, and although the people who are talking about it are art historians, not philosophers, so they're not going to give you an incredible amount of philosophical insight, it may be interesting for you to look at. So now we move on to medieval philosophy, and a more intense concentration now in Anselm and Aquinas on the existence of God.